What if I told you, friends, I have a special guest on the show with me today? Thank you for joining us. Robert Imbriali here. Welcome all patriots and friends and people who want to make a difference in this world. Thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate you. We're a couple of minutes late, but no big deal. A couple of little gremlins got in the way, but I think we got them handled. We're just working on a couple little details in the background here while we get started. We got a lot going on. The news has just been full of goodies today. As you guys know, if you've been watching at all, you got a feeling for what's been happening out there has been nothing short of astounding. Some of the stuff that's coming up is makes your head spin a little bit, and you wonder how in the world we're navigating it and still kind of feeling okay about it all. Anyway, my partner in crime is here. Lewis Herms is with us. Hey, Lewis, good to see you.
Well, it's amazing to see you. Trying to work out some logistics. Hopefully, we can grant everybody with a beautiful sunset. It's kind of washing out right now, but by the time the sun goes down, maybe it'll be a beautiful sunset back there. So I'm traveling as usual, but I should be, I don't know, back home one day. A lot of important stuff going on. We're working on a lot of things. So it's, it is what it is right now.
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background, and we're kind of getting a feel for it. If you just watch, we were talking a little bit, Lewis, about mainstream media. It's actually bleeding into mainstream media a little bit. All the stuff that's going on that we're talking about in kind of our community. It's not just conspiracy theorists anymore, right? It's just, and I never really saw us as conspiracy theorists. I saw us always as we're just a little bit ahead of ourselves. We got the information before everyone else gets it. And for them, it might be new, but for us, it might be, well, we knew about this 6 months ago, right? And it's starting to bleed, and as it always will, the truth always bubbles up to the top. It's starting to come into mainstream media. Have you been exposed to more mainstream media on your travels than normal?
I have, well, and on purpose. So you didn't have any idea what I want to talk about, but you asked the perfect setup for this question. So I spent time yesterday when I had some downtime watching CNBC and Fox News. And the dichotomy between the two is crazy. So Fox News is 100% on the Israel bandwagon. Israel could do no wrong. They've been completely wrong. And the rhetoric from the media, from Hamas and Israel, creates the reaction from all the other countries. They flat out said that they don't believe that the other countries are getting any intel. They believe the other countries that are supporting Israel and supporting Hamas are straight getting their intel from the mainstream media. And they're making really bad decisions. This is CNBC that is saying this.
I am having a hard time believing that. That is.
It gets better.
Okay, well, I'm already shocked, but go ahead.
So they spent well over an hour on several segments yesterday promoting a book called The Government's Big Fail. And they were going in depth how the response failed, the masks don't work, the worst thing we could have done is lockdowns, but all of this is on CNBC.
That's incredible.
Virtually every segment was an absolute red pill. I was shocked, excited, but shocked.
Well, we are in disclosure, right? That is the period we're in, is certainly in the disclosure period. And I know 107 has said this is the year of the whistleblower. I haven't seen many whistleblowers in the past couple of months, but there's been certainly a lot of disclosure. Kind of fun if it's really coming up in mainstream media like that, because it's going to really wake up the rest of the population here that's kind of been asleep and kind of thought we were the crazy ones, right? We're the loonies out there. Yeah. How could you believe the government is that corrupt? I don't want to believe it. Honestly, I don't want to believe it. I want to believe we have an honest, transparent government. But what I see shows me otherwise,
Well, they were actually hinting yesterday, too, that the media and the politicians dictate the trajectory of the stock market, which was very frustrating to them. So 3 major red pills yesterday, all of which we know here. But the fact that it's on CNBC was shocking. Now, I think in homage to Trump Trump, should I drink this with two hands?
Why not, right? That's just so he doesn't drop it, right?
Yeah, right.
CNBC.
So fun time. CNBC.
I'm thinking MSNBC, but that's Microsoft NBC. So
Oh no,
CNBC is
MSNBC.
they're
CNBC
is
is more a
is the
business.
business channel, right? And then MSNBC is the one that's so far left it's off the cliff already.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
CNBC has been coming around for a while, but slowly.
Hmm.
Yesterday was a whole nother level.
Wow. Did you just happen to turn this on? Is this what, or did you?
Yes. So what happened is I was in between meetings, and I was at a restaurant with my wife, and we had to hurry, so I couldn't really get a table. So
Mhm.
we got to sit at the bar, and then the TV was on at the bar, and she was pointing it out. She goes, "Can you believe what we're seeing here?" And it was segment after segment after segment. It was just hilarious.
Well, call it hilarious, but I think it's a win. And I think that's kind of the theme we've got to go with here is we've got to take the little wins as they come because they're going to lead us to the big wins that we're all looking for. And something, that seems little like that is actually pretty big in terms of, the people that they're reaching, that market there. They're going to wake up a good segment of the population as well, which is exactly what we wanted. That's what the Truth Tour has been about. That's what all these broadcasts have been about. That's what this show is about, trying to wake people up, right? And there are a lot of people who tell us they share this show with people who are, not awake yet, and it sort of eases them into the conversation, if you will. So yeah, fantastic. I'm excited. It's something to celebrate, Lewis. Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think too. Now, the nice thing is we've been predicting. I'm promoting this on Telegram to get some more viewers right now. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Um, we've been predicting this for a while that this is going to be a bottom-up disclosure, which means you'll have the, how do we say, you'll have the Bill Coopers and then the David Ikes of the world and so on and so forth. Then we get up to the next tiers and so on and so forth. And it's going to matriculate past us, which is great. And now it's in what I call the sub mainstream media. So the Newsmaxes are red pilling now. CNBC, what did I just say?
CNBC.
CNBC.
Yep.
CNBC is red pilling.
CNBC is a little bit one step up, I think, from Newsmax.
From
Newsmax is closer to us, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
But Newsmax was a couple of weeks ago, so now it's CNBC. So you can see the trajectory is going just the way we predicted it was. I mean, wait, let me break my arm. Okay, we're good. So, but it's going exactly the way that we predicted. So it's very interesting. So, and now starting to get into, you'll see the way they do it on CNN and even Fox now is it's not the main anchors, it's the guests that they have on. And then they don't shut down the narrative where before they would.
Right.
So before they would shut them down when they started talking against the narrative. Now they just let them talk. They go, okay, thank you very much. And they move on like it never happened. So this seems like it's a plan to me. Now, General Flynn is all over the place again, getting upset. There is no Q. There's no plan. President Trump's not president. Blah 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 blah. Q is a psyop. All right. So let me break this down for anybody that would be frustrated with that or upset or believing General Flynn. Many years ago, I was watching General Flynn, and we're talking about this war and being an informational war. And he said, quote, "The good guys will be having to do disinformation. And quote, even if I knew something, I could not tell you." He said this on Del Bigtree. I saw it live, so I remember this. Interesting enough. Then shortly after that, you saw him say the oath, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And the where you go one, where you go all, right? Very Q positive. And now he's saying that none of it exists. Well, let's just put all the pieces together. He said, even if it did, I would have to lie to you and tell you it didn't exist. So before anybody gets triggered and says, uh, uh, Flynn saying Q is a bad psyop, and it only hurts us, which I can understand from his point of view because it makes people tend not to work. But it wasn't Q that did that. It was the people that said trust the plan means just sit back and do nothing. So we have to be very, very clear about that. But this is the same guy that said, I'm going to have to lie to you in order for us to win this war. Okay. And then, so you have to take it with a grain of salt before people get triggered by this. He also said President Trump isn't president. Well, he's not. He's commander in chief. And he said nothing about that. So very interesting. We'll see where it goes. I would love to have him on the show or debate him on this. But if he is running an operation right now, he can't say anything because he would get in trouble.
Right.
And he probably and they will send him and other people out to deny this. Now, I'm not trying to take down the operation for anybody who's like, well, why would you be telling? I'm a peon in this, believe me. There's a segment of the population that need to know this because that they will understand this, and it's not going to affect the major operation. So there are people like me and Derek Johnson and other people out there that need to tell you what we observe happening, because there's a need for that. There's some people are more advanced in this mission than others, and that would be the people watching this understand what I'm talking about.
And you're not giving it away because you don't actually have it to give away.
No, I'm speculating.
You're speculating, and that's what we can do, and we can do that freely because we don't actually have that intel. We don't have that information from those who are trying to protect it. So we're just speculating, and we can do that all day long, and anybody can do that without worrying about any issues, right?
Well, we're also the rare breed that says we're speculating. We don't pretend to know anything.
Right.
But I may have some information today. We'll see what happens when we go through the show.
Oh, as we get started here, let's jump in. Make sure you go visit screwbiggov.com. You're going to find a lot of goodies over there. The Truth Tour has ended. Number 77 was the final one, but hey, there's something else in the works, my friends. You can find Freedom in Action if you want to find out what you can do locally. Also, Cages is there. You can watch the Cages documentary if you haven't seen it yet. Now is a good time. At the bottom center there, you'll see that there's a button for swag. We've got great t-shirts. Remember, your oath.com t-shirts are there with Constitution spelled correctly, although it still is incorrect on the website. We're going to have Lisa change that. But we spelled it right, and when you get a shirt, it'll be correctly spelled. We have a spell checker now on team, so that's good. And then there's a social media button there. You can find Lewis's Telegram channel. It's probably the best way to get it because you look up Screw Big Gov. There's a lot of fake ones out there, so you want to get the real one. That's where you go for that. All right, shall we dig into a little bit of the news today, Lewis? There's some just stuff there that I don't know.
It's just another day where nothing's going on, right?
Oh, okay. What happened to the Kraken? There's a lot to unpack here. The Kraken pleads guilty. That was kind of a surprise. We weren't expecting that to happen today, but I think I figured out what's going on. It's the game they play. The feds play. They stack on the charges.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Hey. No, I'm
now
good.
I can. Yeah, you're good.
I'm good. I think it's the game that they play, Lewis, with the charges. They stack the charges higher and higher and higher and higher, and then they give you a plea deal. And it's like, well, either you're going to go to prison for the rest of your life and have to be in court for years to come to fight all these charges, or take the plea deal and you get, in her case, 7 years of probation. What do you think on that?
Yeah, it is the game that it's called lawfare, and there's a, and I don't know if this is part of her case, but there's a game that they play called conspiracy, and it's a 20 to 30 year charge, and it's the most vague charge on books, and they have a 99% conviction rate on this. Reason why they have a 99% conviction rate is because everybody pleads it out because they're afraid of it.
Yeah.
So they say you can get 20 to 30 years in conspiracy. Now, you know what conspiracy means to the federal government?
Anything
which
they
I think
want.
is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Conspiracy means you just talk to somebody else. That's it, about whatever's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they apply conspiracy on virtually every highway.
Yeah, your Wi-Fi connection is failing us there, Lewis. Lewis is not at a home location today, so he's got a Wi-Fi connection that is a little bit weak. As we can see, we're losing him. Maybe he'll come back. We'll see if it reconnects for us. But I'll read you a little bit of what it said here as we're waiting for Lewis's connection to reestablish here. So-called Kraken lawyer, 68 years old, admitted 6 criminal counts in a deal with prosecutors that saw her receive a reduced sentence. So you can tell that's the game they're playing. So you agree to this reduced sentence, and we'll wipe off the rest of them. So she avoided jail and was given 6 years of probation instead during a surprise appearance at the Fulton County Court in Georgia on Thursday. In a potentially devastating blow to Trump, she also agreed to testify and cooperate with prosecutors turning on her old boss. We don't know if she's going to do that, though. That's a speculation. We don't know if she's going to go that far. Her acceptance of a plea deal is a remarkable U-turn for a lawyer who had strenuously been stolen. In addition to probation, Fulton County Supervisor Court Judge Scott McAfee ordered her to pay a $6,000 fine. Okay. She was also ordered to write a letter of apology to the state of Georgia and its residents. Powell becomes the second of the defendants to reach deals with prosecutors following a bail bondsman Scott Hall, who played a less prominent role. So former prosecutor Ellie Honig said the Powell plea deal was a really big breakthrough for the prosecutors as they pursue Trump. So I think that's really what they're going for. They're going after Trump, and they got one of the people that hang with him. I think that's really what they're going after. You look like you might be halfway back, Lewis.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Cool. So, for anybody that doesn't understand that there may be a plan, this could be a very scary time for them. Because the appearance is that she's going to roll over on Trump.
Right. That's an insinuation at this point, right?
Right. I don't think that's going to happen, but let's take it twofold. Let's assume this is a plan. If this is a plan, they have to play it out to show how sick lawfare is. So if they stack 40 to 50 possible years on her and she gets 7 months probation, that's the game that they play to get people to do that. So they need to play it out to show people that. Let's assume that's the plan, and then she won't roll over on Trump.
Right. If
it's not the plan, she has to save her skin, so she has to take that deal anyway. So either way, she would have to take the deal, whether a plan or not a plan. So it's just literally the question really is she gonna roll over on Trump? I don't think there's anything to roll over on him on. So I don't really think he didn't do anything wrong, right? So I don't see it happen. What it comes down to is, will Trump take a plea deal? And I don't see that happening.
No. One thing that they want her for is there was a meeting with Trump at the White House that nobody knows what that meeting was about. And what they want her to do is disclose what happened in that meeting. So that's what role she's going to play, if any. And who knows if she's going to talk or not talk on that. Or she might just say, I don't recall, right? Mm-hmm. Which is a fair defense in this kind of thing.
Yep, she can legally say that too.
Yep.
Now, Carolina girl just put in chat, I knew 2 of these, I didn't know 3 of them, that there's 6 counts of conspiracy, 6 years of probation, and $6,000 fine. Is that what you read?
Oh, look at that. Carolina Patriot girl, you caught it. 666. Look at that. Yep.
Is that what it is?
She's got it right.
6 and 7.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, there you go. That should tell you everything you need to know. Thank you, Carolina girl. That was very helpful. And that tells you everything you need to know. I didn't even know that.
Yep.
Good catch.
See, there's a lot of comms even in these charges, which is really kind of fascinating. All right. Next on the, I'm having flashbacks of Ross Perot with this guy, Jim Jordan. He's in, he's out, he's in, he's out. Now he's back in for this afternoon anyway. He's going to run for Speaker of the House again. But this morning, Gateway Pundit reported he's out. So the Gateway Pundit reported earlier Thursday that Rep. Jim Jordan withdrew from the Speaker's race today after 22 rhinos derailed his vote for Speaker of the U.S. House. Jordan was clearly the favorite. And during a press conference, Jim Jordan said he will be running for Speaker of the House. I'm still running for Speaker, and I plan to go to the floor to get the votes and win this race, but I want to go talk to a few of my colleagues first. He's out and he's in.
So it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't make sense that he would be out, right?
Right. Either you're a fighter or you're not.
Are we good on audio?
Yeah. You're just breaking up a little bit, but we can still understand you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it okay. It doesn't make sense that he would be out. Uh, McCarthy did 16 votes, right? And he
Right.
started with almost about the same spread as he's missing 20 some votes at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And then it consolidated. So it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
It doesn't.
I say he's in for the long haul, or at least until we get to 17 votes.
I wouldn't know why. I wouldn't. This just maybe you look at the trend and you say, okay, 20 voted against them first round, 22 the second round. Maybe he said, hey, I'm going the wrong direction here.
It's not. This has got to play out longer. I believe they will put the intern. I think they're going to vote in the interim speaker. They're going to give him more power, so he could so-called run the failed government.
Okay. I got to say this.
That's ludicrous.
Did you see what he did today? He called Congress in session, and 5 minutes later,
and closed it.
Closed it. That's what he did last week too. He closed it and he said, "We're not back until Tuesday." That's all this guy does is shut the thing down. It's the craziest thing.
He doesn't have any other power.
That's all he can do is open and close. I got the switch on. It's got the switch off. Hey, Joey, turn the lights out, will you? We're done here. Come on.
He's going to wear out that mallet.
Yeah, literally. Oh, boy. All right. So now we have lawmakers telling us that, hey, the reason we're voting against Jordan
and so on and so forth. Sounds like she's just using this right now. This is the victim card. So,
this is the card I've got in my back
they're
pocket.
Paid up.
When I need it, I'll pull it out.
Just waiting to play it.
Yep. Yeah.
They know they're all paid by the deep state.
Yeah, they are. They are.
They get a ton of money from the SES, as you already know.
Well, Bannon was talking about it this morning. He says he has spies on the Hill and said a lot of these 22 that voted against Jim Jordan were approached by the lobbyists. And they were told, you want money and you want to do this, it's like you kind of vote against this guy. He's not on our team. So that's why they got to 22 from 20. And it should have gone to 18 rather than 22. But it went the other way because you had all these pressure people up on the Hill doing their thing. So we don't really know. It's really an interesting game because we never find out what's going on in those backroom deals and the pressures and the threats and all the rest of it. And we get a little window into it here and there, but we have no idea. It'd be fun to be a congressman for like a week to just kind of get a feel for all of it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't stomach sitting down and eating with any of these people.
We'd have to eat in the commissary. Yeah, I don't think I could do that either. That's not food.
Just eating next to them is my issue.
Yeah, it's just to be in the room with those too many flies. I don't know. It just couldn't do it. Senior Biden, our in marketing we call it a loss leader, making from what I'm reading into what he's talking about.
Well, the whole time he's talking, all I could hear is "Don't cry for me, Tina."
Joey says Lewis is
I'm
wicked
really
smart.
Small on the screen. People must love my little small thing on the screen now. Is that because of my signal's not coming through very strong?
Yeah, you keep going and you keep freezing, and that's where it's going because you don't have good internet there.
Right. Okay. So maybe I could do the robot.
As long as the audio holds, I don't care about the video so much,
Exactly. They don't want to see me today anyways. Now, this is, we're in an incredible time. And among all the fear-mongering and the bad stuff that's happening, I hope that we can find time to laugh at this stuff and get a little chuckle to keep our vibration high, because there is a lot of good stuff happening right underneath the surface. Just start almost, and literally, by the way, underneath the surface, really work on things to be taking our countries, plural, back. So this is all very important, what's going on right now.
It really is, and you like
I'm going
you.
to see if my wife just walked in. Let me see if she'll give me a thumbs up to give some of these disclosures I hinted at you about. Is she going to, am I allowed to talk about any of that stuff? Okay, just don't name names.
Don't name names.
All right, cool.
Cool. I like it.
So I've had multiple calls, multiple credible sources verified that of, how do I say it, stature and make things get back to where they need to go have been activated. They've been called. They're flying out all over the country. This is nothing I'm reading on Telegram. This is not zero posts. These are all information I'm getting directly. So I never talk like this, but it's very interesting, and I just think people need to be on their toes, be prepared, be ready. We went through an interesting thing we were moving hotels in Nashville, and during the middle of the week, I travel a lot. I've been in the last 18 months in, I don't know, couple countries and 110 cities, I think it is, something crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that in the middle week, I can always find a hotel room somewhere, right? Between my wife and I walking into them and her calling a couple, we went through a dozen hotel rooms, and they're all completely booked. Not in Nashville, but the surrounding areas in Nashville. So we started to ask questions. Is this normal? Every single place that we went through, and this is no exaggeration, how we were going in place after place after place. Every single spot said, we've never seen anything like this. We're never booked up on a Tuesday. We don't know what it is. And the more questions we asked, it was 20 to 40-year-old men with short haircuts were primarily who they were booking the rooms for.
Wow.
And based on something my wife saw, she speculated, we always tell the truth, so she speculated that she thinks they were booking multiple guys in a single room. Now, the good news is these weren't foreign nationals. They looked like they could have been military, so we can only assume and maybe they are reserves. Now, I would think if something's going to go down, that we would be positioning reserves all around the major cities. Because the first thing you do is you want preventative measures. You don't want something to go down. So if they think it's going to go down and they put a force around the cities, they can tell the deep state, don't play any games right here. Second, if something does go down, you want containment. And that would be exactly what they would be doing. That would be a containment operation. So they stagger. And by the way, we went to multiple cities. This just wasn't one. Mm-hmm. So they stagger them around the cities, in the major cities, and then they just house there. And then as you know, and you kind of reported on this, they could bring in the equipment at the last second via rail.
Well, we're seeing it.
And
I mean, you look around, city after city, you're seeing these trains full of this gear, right? This is in Salt Lake City, Utah on the 15th, but I got a lot of these videos. People have been sending them to me all week, right? So
I don't think all these can be coincidences anymore.
No, there's too many now. Yeah.
Right. And I'm on the phone with people like, voices trembling, and they're very serious. They're like, well, I got to go. Got the call. This person got the call. This person got the call, so on and so forth. So this is real. We don't know when. We don't know what. We're not that far in the know. We're not going to pretend. All we can do is say, based on the information that we're getting, just be aware. That's what I would suggest. And we did talk also about the fact that independent companies are buying up or selling all the AR-15, selling the ammo to the military as we speak,
right,
and trying not to sell it to the public. I don't know if you reported on that or
Yeah,
not.
we talked about that yesterday. The AR-15 or the 5.56 millimeter ammo is not being sold, or they can't. What they did is they canceled all their consumer contracts, and they only have contracts now with the military. So the military is buying up 100% of their production. And this Lake City, I think it's called, ammo production company, they provide about 30% of all the 223 ammo for the consumers. So it's a big chunk, and now, of course, now that message is out there, there's going to be a run on that ammunition this week. Everyone's going to be going out and stocking up, right?
Yeah, it sounds like it. I would think they should too. Now, there was an interesting anomaly that was consistently said versus because I started quizzing everybody when I went to the front desk, right? Because that's our duty now, especially if we're going to report on it. And they would say there's a lot of jets flying in that we've never seen before. So we're trying to guess. We're calling all the other hotels people we know at. They all don't know anything, right? It's very weird. Some people were like, "Yeah, it's just weird. We don't know. It's just odd." Some people were a little bit freaked out. One lady was very, very nervous about it, and she was at the front desk. She's acted as it kind of scared her a little bit because she's never seen anything like this. And one lady, the last thing she said before I left, she's like, she was worried. She goes, "Mind your P's and Q's." The last thing she said, just a front desk person.
Yeah.
But she also said they were investigating themselves because it was so weird. And they said a lot of private jets were flying in and out, in and out, in and out. They couldn't figure out why they were doing that. Maybe they're flying some of these guys in on, 16, 20, 24 seat planes.
Well, private jets is an interesting concept because a lot of the government jets are not marked as such. They do look like private jets. So they, all the three-letter agencies have their own fleet.
Exactly.
Yeah. So interesting.
So we're going to see. But there's definitely a lot of movement, and we know people are being activated and called. So we'll see what happens.
And then Biden's going to be asking for $100 billion today. He's coming up later on today doing a press conference, and he's going to be asking for a package of $100 billion, which will include $60 billion for Ukraine. Why? And $10 billion for Israel. And here's what I found interesting. I was reading through this a little bit. Here's what I found to be sort of fascinating by what they wrote. This is from Politico. President Joe Biden will send Congress an expansive military aid package request on Friday, seeking roughly $100 billion in assistance for Israel and Ukraine and Taiwan, as well as cash. Listen to the way they wrote this, as well as cash to handle the influx of migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border. What I didn't read is stop the influx. I read handle the influx. Interesting. It's all in the words. It's there. Are you still with us, or did I lose you? No, you still look good. Okay. So to go along with the military movements, we're starting to see, this was breaking a little bit earlier today. Iranian-backed Houthi militants fire missiles at U.S. Navy destroyer off the coast of Yemen. According to open source intelligence monitor, Pentagon sources, Secretary Brigadier General Pat American destroyer in the sea, and then also in Syria, a military base being attacked there. Can you see the game? Can you see how it's starting to come together where the U.S. is kind of being drawn into this, which we kind of knew. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while, that the U.S. will be drawn into this battle. It started with Israel and Palestine and Hamas, and obviously we see that going on, but it's already extended beyond those borders. Everyone said it would. And I think, if we're looking at this, I always look at the signs, and it's okay, what's the trend here? The trend is expansion. Now, we talked about this. I think we're going to see expansion of this. And there's China, there's Taiwan, there's other fronts to the battle. So got to keep our eyes open, guys. It's time, right? We all knew we were going to get to this tipping point. It looks like we may be certainly marching in that direction at this point. So I'm paying attention. You guys should be paying attention as well. There's a lot popping right now. And interestingly enough, as we're going through the stories and trying to bring stuff up, this stuff happened, this popped up in the news literally 15 minutes before we went live today. So there's always something new coming up. So once you get done here, remember there's still more coming, and we'll be back tomorrow with Bruce Poppy. We're going to unravel some more news stories. We'll bring you up to date on whatever's popped since then. All right. Our next story, as we're waiting for Lewis to reconnect here. I don't see him yet. I have a monitor just above me here that shows he'll show up there when he pops in. So this story says,
I'm here.
Lewis is back.
He doesn't see me.
Yeah, I don't see you. Oh, there you are. Now I see you. All right. Do you want to comment on the last story? Did you hear or did you not hear?
Is this the one where Biden was asking for 100? Did you pass that one?
Yeah, there was one more.
Number two, I think most importantly, is if he's sending this to Congress, well, they can't do anything now anyways. So it doesn't really matter until they get the votes. Yeah. So
well, they said it will pass in the Senate, but the Senate doesn't control the purse strings. The Congress does.
That's right.
And
they do not.
They're like, okay, so they've got to wait for the speaker thing to be settled before it actually goes to Congress, and who knows what'll happen, depending on.
And sometimes they do go to Senate, and then they go to Congress.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. It's like a impeachment. It could pass in the Congress, and it's not going to go anywhere to the Senate.
Yep.
It's just reverse right now. So we'll see what happens.
Awesome. Hey, do you travel with your Swish? When you travel, do you bring it with you?
So funny you say that. I travel with the travel size.
Uh-huh.
Before the show, I just took some and I tightened it up and threw it to my wife. Yeah.
Outstanding.
It's a little travel size. It worked. It worked for me. I also travel with my ivermectin.
Just in case. That's the horse pace.
Yep. Because traveling. If you travel a lot, guys, you'll know what I'm talking about. You have to be armed up.
You have to be ready for anything you're never going to run into. Well, NutraSwish is a great product for helping your immune system. Your immune system staying really strong because it helps your liver. It helps you detox and helps you deal with oxidative stress. Lewis and I are big fans of this product. And you can see Lewis's great hair. It's turned, it's not so gray anymore. It's actually darkened quite a bit. And when you see him in person, you go, really? Wow, that's really changed. And people are remarking about Bruce Poppy, too. They're like, he has hair again. What happened? Because he'd always trim it down because it wasn't growing. But now he's growing it out. And it's like, I don't recognize him anymore. He looks like 20 years younger. So we're looking at the results, and all products, you look at them, the hype is really good, but it doesn't do anything in terms of convincing you to buy it. But when you see the results are really what sells it, right? So for us, we are looking at the results. We get testimonials from our clients and people who are using it, and they love it. It is a nanoparticle glutathione product, and glutathione's a little bit hard to get. You can take it as a supplement, but it does get destroyed in the digestive tract. So you need glutathione because your liver, that's kind of the fuel for your liver. And your liver cleans out all the toxicity and helps you with energy. They have added turmeric to this mix as well. So you've got both glutathione and turmeric in a nanoparticleized solution. Put it in your mouth, swish it around. The nanoparticles are absorbed under the tongue. They go right into the bloodstream. And if you have trouble sleeping, you're going to find you may sleep better. You may find, too, that if you exert physically, that you recover a lot quicker as well. So there's a lot of good things that happen with glutathione. So we love this product, NutraSwish. They also have a spray for your skin. And you can find out more about it by going to this website here, renegademedia.tv/energy, and you'll find more information on glutathione there. Plus, you'll get to see some of those amazing before and after photos as well. All right. More to come. There's zero chance, Lewis, that Hamas won't get their hands on the 100 million Gaza aid that we've already sent them. It's kind of interesting when I look at this because you look and you say, wait a minute, we're giving aid to Gaza and we're also giving aid to Israel.
You should ask them. When in history have you known, because these people don't know, that wars, the one war is being funded by one entity on both sides? And they're like, well, that would never happen. And then you prove it. You say, here it's happening.
It is happening, yeah.
And then when they wake up, you're like, okay, by the way, this has happened throughout history.
Yep.
Even Lincoln admitted to it during the Civil War, that he was getting this, both sides were being funded literally through the Rothschilds.
We're waking up to it. I mean, that's the good news. If there's good news in any of this, we are certainly waking up to it more and more. As we keep talking about it and sharing it, we're planting seeds, and people are kind of like, oh, yeah, well, there it is. It's in mainstream media now. You can see it. That was from the Daily Mail. That's not necessarily a conservative outlet, but it's sort of middle of the road. But we're hearing it now. We're seeing it. Kind of a fun time.
I would say for everybody watching, let's assume you're a tree, and we're giving you information that you may or may not know. Here, your tree is bearing fruit, right? If your fruit just drops to the ground and rots, just your local area is actually getting seeded.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to help you. You need to be giving your fruit out and your seeds out to everybody you can now, so their trees can bear fruit, and therefore they can spread the word. Don't hold it into yourself. Just because you get the information here, don't hold it in your little bubble. That's not what this is about. This is about winning this war. The only way we're going to do that if more people are awake. It is an informational spiritual war, so we are an absolute humongous part of this.
And more disclosure today from Pfizer, of all people.
Real quick before you go on there, let me answer this to Hobbit in the chat. Said you asked the question to someone that I felt was starting to get it. They said, how do you know the same peeps are funding it? Many don't want to know. Well, this is pretty easy. It says the Biden administration opened up $6 billion to Iran. The Biden administration...
To censor anyone for bringing attention to this, but we're coming clean now. Right? And you're seeing that. That seems exactly... He's on point. We're coming clean.
Yep.
CYA.
Yep. By the way, C-SPAN talked about this yesterday also.
Really?
C-SPAN was saying it's really sad that anytime somebody wanted to step up, they were shut down immediately. And C-SPAN really dove into that, how bad that was, that the fact that anytime anybody had a counter narrative, they were shamed and bullied out of it. C-SPAN said this yesterday.
Wow.
Very interesting.
Wow. Yeah, we are moving in a crazy direction. Well, we have a video here that we have to watch. There are no words. You see this thing. This is DeSantis.
These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do.
Hey.
One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you. Yeah. You keep lying when you ought to be truthing.
What do you think?
Well, I've seen that before.
Is he faking his height?
Absolutely, and that's because you have DeSantis 2.0.
You have two. Yeah, you don't have the same one. Some of the things we run into, I mean, Master Baggy, thank you for sharing some of the things you share with us in our group, and Denise, thank you as well. I should also mention we are streaming on Grassroots Warrior Network as well today on Rumble. So if you are part of that channel, thank you for watching this show. We're going to be streaming on that channel as well. Part of the process, Lewis and I had said from the very beginning, is we wanted to bring this show to other channels. So we're on Renegade Media. We're obviously on Screw Big Gov. Now we're on Grassroots Warrior. I'm also streaming right now on Twitter and Clout Hub, and we'll be adding more channels as we go forward as well. We want to get this word out to more and more people because, like Lewis said, we're planting seeds. We don't want to hold this information back. We want to make sure it's in your hands. And I post all the videos and things on the Renegade Media channel on Telegram, specifically because it's easy to download it. Grab it, share it out, comment on it, whatever you want to do with it. Our goal is to just make sure people are aware that everything they're being told by mainstream media isn't necessarily the truth these days. A lot of narrative out there, and we've been very good at busting through a lot of it, and there's more to come. Alex Jones was saying this morning to expect more false flags, and that may be why we're seeing all this movement, all this military movement as well. Who knows?
Yep. I'm on board with all of it. I think we're there. So it's just we have to hunker down and move through this, and not to upset anybody. I've been saying this forever. I don't think this is going to be a short game. I think it's the long game.
Yeah.
And but that's okay. We're going to get through it.
It was promised to us in a way after they installed Biden that it wouldn't last, and within 6 weeks it would get reversed, and we had all this hope, and it just kept going. It's hope, then no hope, and it's like it'll be 2 weeks, it'll be 3 weeks. No, Trump will be reinstated 3 months from now. It'll be December, and we've been going through this, and it's very tiring to be on that roller coaster, that emotional roller coaster. So just hunker down, know that it's going to be a little rough for a little bit here. We'll get there. I think we're going to get to the other side, and it's going to be worth every ounce of energy we're putting into this, because we'll get to a point where a lot of these cabal players will be gone, and a lot of the government agencies that suppress a lot of the technologies and health that we should be experiencing, they'll be removed, and we'll have access to a lot of cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any final thoughts for today, Lewis, before we wrap up?
The most important thing I can say, and everybody should pay attention, it's better to have hope in your soul than soap in your hole.
Oh, making the t-shirt. Bruce, where are you? I've got a t-shirt to make here.
Love you guys. Take care.
Will you be joining us tomorrow for our show if you have time? You're welcome to.
We'll see.
Okay.
I'm all over the place, but I think that's a possibility.
Okay.
It's just based on when meetings end or conversations end. You know how that works.
Yep, I do. Thank you so much for being here, Lewis. I appreciate you. Love you so much. Like a brother to me, and we're having a lot of fun here, spreading the good news and helping people really understand that there is hope at the end of this tunnel. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yep.
Make sure you share it,
brother.
and make sure you're following our channel, and we'll see you again tomorrow